Okay, good morning, everybody. Happy new week. I'm super excited to be sitting here next to another one of my recently published authors, Louise James. Thank you for joining me this morning.
Thank you for having me. It's great.
Yeah, I'm super, super proud of you, and I can't wait to talk about, your book, No Full Stops. But today's topic is named "It's Never Too Late to Rewrite Your Storyline." So, Louise, you and I met in a Wollongong workshop like 3 years ago, I think.
Yeah, it was. It just came up on Facebook.
I think photo.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And I was intrigued. It's something I'd wanted to do for a long time, and I just thought, I'll just go along. And I believe I signed up that day.
You did.
I just went with my gut, my intuition.
Yeah. And then I think August was your retreat. It was one of the last few face-to-face ones.
Yes.
As we spoke about before we got on live, you took a little bit longer than other people to complete your book, but you're here sitting with me, and I said that's the whole reason we're doing the interviews, because the book is out. Show us your book.
Here it is.
She loves it. No Full Stop. I love it. I love the cover, and it's your memoir, and that's what we're going to talk about. But also you do a lot more than sharing your memoir. But let me give you guys the official introduction of Louise, and then we'll get into the content and the story and all that. So Louise James is a holistic counselor and coach, motivational speaker, engaging storyteller. She's super funny, and post-cancer thriver. After a 25-year-long career working with some of the world's most recognizable brands in the corporate and non-for-profit sector, it took an unexpected diagnosis of breast cancer in 2015 to bring Louise to a full stop, or so it seemed. Today, Louise is the author of No Full Stops, a memoir in which she shares intimate aspects of her cancer journey, and she's the founder of the No Full Stops community, designed to help others connect, heal, grow, and move beyond their own full stop moment. Louise's passion is to help others discover it's never too late to rewrite your storyline and live a full and vibrant life, a life that has no full stops. And just the other day, she hit the #1 Amazon bestseller in so many categories, so let's talk about this amazing, story that you have. Tell me, you had wanted, before we met, you had said to me, when we were doing like kind of the interview process after the seminar, you wanted to write a book for a very, very long time. So why then?
Okay, so when I was about 9, I, as all children do, announce what you're going to be as a grown-up, and I announced I wanted to be a writer. And I was given a typewriter for Christmas, but by that time I'd already changed my mind and I wanted a live dog. So all those parents out there, I totally get it when you think you've been told to get a Christmas present and then you're told the night before something different. But that love of writing and me connecting with my emotions and stuff, I found very healing. I used to keep 1,000 journals, and I still have some from when I was about 11. And then over the years, I actually, used to write for marketing and strategies and copywriting. So it was part of the profession, but it's a very different experience when you're writing for somebody else and in their voice or showing a product. So this journey, I found after cancer, I was really struggling with my mental health, really to try and work out what had happened that had got me to that point of disease, and not to replicate it going forward. So finding meaning out of it. So there was very much an urge for me to write it out. I actually had thought of a different book I was originally going to write about. My son was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome. And at that time, I wanted to share what it's like as a parent to get the diagnosis and go through therapies. But when I then got cancer, I think it was more, I wanted to show my children a legacy for them. And I find that the book really is my love letter to them and how they help steer me through or have that laser focus to get through treatments. And so I actually, when I started writing the book, I sent it to a friend and she said, "You're writing 2 books," which I love the overachievement, but I settled on writing the book about that roller coaster year of treatment and the aftermath.
Yeah, I love that. And so you did it, writing a book for you was very much another healing journey. you know,
Yeah,
after the fact. So yeah,
and it
talk to us about.
was the part that what intrigued me about coming with 48-hour author was the ability to find people to help me nurture that story to come out, because when you haven't really quite found your own voice for yourself and you're writing the first time, you're not sure how it's going to be accepted, what's the content going to be like, what's it going to mean to other people. And that retreat and meeting those fabulous other authors and your team really got me on the first point for success to writing the book. I know that I'm probably not the most cookie cutter person, so the process took me longer, but actually just having that weekend and putting it in my diary, I'm literally going away down to Melbourne, away from where I live in New South Wales, and committing to it. And I think it was the first point of like committing to write the book is such a big moment. And when we went to the retreat, I probably spent about 25%, maybe more of the time crying because it was suddenly going, okay, now we're doing it. And I'd already started writing some of it, but I literally needed to settle into that creative process and what it is that I wanted to say. So yeah, it was a really healing journey just to make sense of it. And really, when you're writing, it's a different thing from writing in your journal. You also want to make it enjoyable. The book itself, cancer is the element that threads through the story, but it's got so many universal themes of parenting, being a single parent during that time, family dynamics, how people outside of the cancer journey react to it, how you as a patient are trying to hold yourself together and focus on the next step. Yeah. So it brings in a lot of financial, some other financial themes, just everyday life themes for people as well. So I think that's where it's it's a journey. You can see how I travel through that time.
Yeah, I love it. And you've got some photos in there as well that I've seen.
Yes, one of the things that I loved as well about the process of working with you guys was to be able to have, you know, I already had the logo and this is actually my name written, is to have that ability to have that when you haven't found your voice, to be able to really make those decisions and work with the team. And one of the things that I felt that was not available to me at the time is, what does it look like, that process? You know, when do you get your hair shaved? What is the etiquette? Is there etiquette of going for cancer, you know, treatment? So, and also I didn't really understand all the different styles when they come back through treatments, because you logically know you're going to potentially, depending on your treatment, lose your hair, but it's when eyebrows, ear, hair, nose hair, all these different things, there are these sort of like, I kind of liken it to, you know, the terms and condition of a holiday brochure, where you like, oh, this looks okay, and then underneath there's all these, and by the way, you might find this, and some people might be this, and you go, oh my goodness. But it was also, I wanted to capture the beautiful drawings that my daughter did, because it was her way of expressing herself, and they were my litmus test for how they were going and how we were all traveling. So I wanted it to be, and look at me as a proud mother, I'm doing show and tell here, but within that, to capture those essence and that heart of what held me, and the tremendous outpouring of support from friends and family, from a number of organizations. Hence, I'm wearing pink today, and thank you. You got the memo.
I had no idea, by the way. We didn't organize this.
It's actually Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So one of the decisions I made when I made it to Amazon bestseller was for the ebook I had launched specifically in October for this month to donate $1 for every download on Amazon for the ebook to go to breast cancer awareness research and support. So that's been really important to give back and to thank those people who held us and my, you know, and the family through this time.
I love that. I love that. And we'll tell you guys everything, all your details where you can get this book. But talk to me a little bit about your approach to living a more holistic life, or having that holistic approach to life. What does that mean? And, you know, how do you create that in your life now?
Well, I think the first thing I want to say is that for me, sharing my story, and at the time when I was going through treatment on, you know, just sharing bits on Facebook really helped me connect. And as we mentioned, it helped me heal and then grow from the process. And during that time of looking back and reflecting what learnings I had, I realized I was in such survival mode during that period of time going through treatment, which served me really well, because I was very disconnected with my emotions and what was happening in my body. I couldn't name the emotion, what I was feeling. And it was, a great way of surviving, where you're physically being moved around and stuff, but not a great way of living. So when I talk about holistic approach, it's really about connecting into how you're thinking, the thoughts that you're saying to yourself, what are you feeling in your body?
Yeah.
Because there is this dis-ease, is like where there's not a balance within you. And for me, I'd lost touch with my own connection to my own inner wisdom and soul and stuff. So that sounds like I'm soulless, not that I was soulless or anything, but for me, the holistic approach is really connecting your mind, body, spirit, soul, and being more balanced and grounded within yourself to really be your true authentic self. I think sometimes in life we continue with what we think we should be doing in life, the expectations, and we all have different chapters along the way where we become the mother and we sort of fade into the background. We just are the mum doing everything for everyone else, and we deprioritize ourselves. But if we don't fill our cup full, we can't help other people. So for me, it's just being mindful a bit more about how we're going through life. And when you are given a full stop moment, especially like a health diagnosis with an uncertain time length, it really teaches you about being in the now and making the most of your life and to really live that full life. So that's what I mean by that side of things.
What are some things that you do to nurture, as you say, mind, body, spirit? What are some things that you
Well, things like, and it can be different from everybody.
Yeah.
For me, just getting out in nature and just being reconnected, just really, I'm an absolute overthinker and I can get quite anxious. So it's really trying to get back into your body, because otherwise your thoughts just go round and round. Yeah. And so going into nature and sort of just going and listening and being mindful about what can I hear, what can I smell, what can I touch?
Yeah.
And things like meditations, I found for myself personally, and there's a plethora of meditations, but a meditation where you sit silently in a lotus position was never going to work for me.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I'm curious, what do you do?
So there are different type ones. You can get ones where someone takes you through a guided meditation, or you can hear music. There's lots of different ones, and it's really about testing what works for you. And as I said before, I really do believe, with the cookie cutter, there are processes and there are projects or things that we can do that if we have a list and we can check which works for us. So for example, I love gardening, and it is a kind of mindful thing because you're not really thinking. Yeah. And that's when you drop in and think, it just sort of slows you down. It's that tactile approach. But there are other people who wouldn't be. I've got some clients, and one of them is an extreme sports person, and running for her is like breathing. For me, that is like putting a pin in my eye. So you're a runner, aren't you? Or you do?
I'm not a runner. I do exercise, but it's I'm very disciplined about it. I don't really like too much to sweat, but I still do it anyway because I know it's good for me.
Exactly. So it's that physical movement. It could be something like painting, or like you can do the coloring books and things like that. And for me, writing gets a lot of my stuff out. So there's a whole toolbox, and that's one of the reasons at the same time as doing the book, I was studying to be a holistic counsellor, because I wanted to find different things that work for me. So I love essences, I love crystals, much to my children's like, and all sorts of different things. So it's whatever works for you, but there's so many. And that's what's wonderful, is it doesn't have to cost much. You can listen to a podcast for free these days. You can download on YouTube. There's lots of things available. Yeah.
It's about making time for yourself, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's always being busy with other people's priorities. And I know what you're saying about the writing. I was speaking to a journalist like last week, and she kept wanting to write other people's stories, and she had 7 book ideas. And then I said, yeah, but the one that you're actually avoiding is the one that's about you, and the one that's going to make you more vulnerable. And that's the one I want you to do. Yeah. So that's where you've come from as well. So the other thing that you say, don't wait for your full stop moment. I mean, there's so many times we've seen in life that people have that health diagnosis. It's like motivation comes, I've learned that we're motivated because of a reward, punishment, or survival, right? Yeah. And obviously the strongest of the three, survival, which is the full stop moment, as you say. So you say create a full and vibrant life now. So how can someone who hasn't had a full stop moment
Well, I think for me, actually, with a full stop moment, I actually think it's broader. For me, this was the largest one, but I've had full stop moments on the way, and I think we all have, when separation or raising children, my son's diagnosis. I think it's a moment where it's a life-altering moment or a situation. So for me, the reason why it's, for me, the prevalence of no full stops now is COVID. People's certainty and what path they thought they were going on has somehow been shattered. And it could be that your job that was always the guaranteed source of income's gone. It's actually what that full stop moment is, whatever it is for you. And it doesn't have to be, and I know when I was going through cancer, people would often go, oh, I can't tell you what's happening in my life because you're having something major. For me, about stress and challenges we go through in life, it's not about what we put on a Richter scale of what the challenge is. It's how we process it, how we go through, what we learn from it, and how we come through it. So actually, I'm going to be starting a podcast for No Full Stops to talk to other people about what their moment was, whether it was a health thing or it was another moment. And for me, the power was in the pause, is taking the time afterwards. I'd had a number of health issues leading up to this point, and I felt like I was a firefighter. It's under control, let's move on. I never gave myself that breath or time to go, well, what happened? What did I do to help create that? Which, of course, when you're talking about cancer, you don't want to think about that. I've done this to myself. But there are elements that you can see coming up, the stress and the ignoring that sort of side of things. So for me, it's about taking that time to reflect and pause, to really re-regulate your emotions, to really feel into your body and your intuition, and to really go, what have I learned from this? And what am I going to take going forward? Are there changes in my life that I would like to make? Obviously, with something like a life-altering event like this one, it was, if I only had 5 more years to live, what would I be wanting to do? Where would I stand right now? And that was why the book, circling back to your question originally, for me it was, I still hadn't had my 5-year clearance at that time. And for me it was, I need to write this now because I might not be here later. So it's about prioritizing what's important to you, not what's important to everybody else, because you only have one chance in life. So that's where I'm hoping to inspire through other people's stories and sharing theirs, where we are, because there's always someone who's got better off life or someone worse off life. It's about putting that perspective back into where you are right now and enjoying the moment for where it is right now.
And I love the pause, like taking the pause and just reflecting, because I think we have so many stories and wisdom we can pull out of. I mean, the growth comes from the tough times. Absolutely. It doesn't come from everything is happy and, you end up in a comfort zone where nothing really, like every day seems kind of all the same. So the shake-ups that we get, we hate them.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable, it's change, and it's dealing with that. And also, just to your point where you're talking about stories, we often tell ourselves a certain story. We need to be this way, we need to do this. So it's actually uncovering, going, is that something I've held on from childhood? Is it something someone else has told me I couldn't do that? But it's actually about going, well, let's try it. Let's be brave. Let's be fearless. Let's try something and take a risk. And if it doesn't, we know that wasn't right for us and we try something new.
Yeah. Never failure, always feedback, and nothing is a waste of time. Everything is a learning opportunity. And I absolutely love and believe in that. So you talked about a podcast.
There's a big microphone there on the table.
I love it.
Plugged in.
Yes. When is it starting up soon?
Well, one thing that I wanted to mention about the book with the process as well is when you're writing something, it's also about giving yourself that creative process and time, that time to reintegrate your new knowledge And then at what point do you then introduce things? So I think it's the perfect time that I want to, by the end of this year, to have started the podcast.
Nice.
Do I know how to do it technologically? No, that's something I've got to learn some new skills. But I've already asked a few people to share their stories. So I have all of those. And that's what I love about the creative process, because I actually had bought I think it was called a slug number, isn't it, for the podcast, the name No Full Stops. I'd registered it a couple of years ago, so I've been paying for it before it was ready, but I needed to be ready to be able to facilitate those conversations. And so through this process, writing it and coming through from the other side, I'm ready now to help other people share their stories, give voice to that. And that's what's so aligned with me and coming through you guys, is that you are bringing these voices, because we all have stories to tell. We're always sometimes self-doubtful about, why would someone want to hear mine? But it is that humanness, that's what we want to hear, and people's vulnerability is our superpower.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm so proud of people who actually back themselves like you did, because they're the ones that are going to impact, others who might be just starting to go through the journey, or all that sort of stuff. So how else? So podcasts, what else will you be doing? How else do you work with people?
So as I said, I did my holistic counselling, and I knew for myself that it's a journey. Life is a journey, but there's also different stages where you want to connect in, or you might feel quite isolated, which is why it was important for me to put the book in, to help people with cancer or their people around them understand what they might be going through, or for them to be able to speak their needs or ask them what do they need. So for me, it's all about that connection element, and that's why the podcast and my writing and all of those things is to help people find that space where they are. I think it's important to voice where you are and have a safe and non-judgmental space to do that, and unpack yourself, because often your friends and family will want to try and fix you or stop you from speaking about it. So I wanted to create a space where someone could come to me, and I'll hold that space for them to be able to unpack, and also for them to be able to help, for them to see any limiting stories and beliefs that might be holding them back, and really tap back into their intuition, and then coach them through the process of what was it that you would like to do, and help make those small steps of change, because we often have a vision of where we want to go. So the vision of writing the book, as you said before, I've had for a long time. I always liken myself to a bit like a slinky dog. The head's there, and then my body's sort of coming on slowly up towards where my head is. So it's really helping them from that full journey. So they can go to my website, louisejames.com, and I'm just now pulling all those pieces together, because I always knew there was a healing element of getting the emotions out and releasing them. And I've just been doing some other training on that side. So I've looked at what I felt like I needed along the way, and the difference in community, and that's what I'd like to offer other people.
And that's where you've seen qualifications and education, so you can, kind of go, well, I always believe that the books that we write are not for other people, are there for the past version of us. When we ultimately get the chance to help others. So once we go through a transformative process and we've had our own growth and all that, the only further way we can grow is by helping other people. Okay. And that's where kind of, you have arrived. First of all, you were the one that needed all the education, the growth, all the tools and all that. And now you've upskilled yourself, and, now you're going to see your growth through other people, which is what's happening. The way I help you guys write your books. When I see you doing things out there, it's like, that's what gives me fulfillment. So that I can see that.
Exactly. And I knew, excuse me, I knew that there's a reason why I'm still here. There's something where I want to help people fulfill their full potential too. And I've always, as you mentioned before, I've worked with not-for-profits. I've always had that side of me that wants to help other people, but there's also a part where you have to help yourself first. And I also need to experience certain elements, so I know I'm empathetic, but it's also from having those experiences, you could really, everybody wants to be seen and felt and valued and heard. And I want to give that experience to other people as well, so they feel supported along the way too.
Yeah, I love it. All right. So last thing is, let's cover off, like, how was the process, the publishing process, going through all the bits and pieces, editing, as we said, your journey was a little bit longer than, the traditional 3 or 4 months after retreat, and you got a book in hand because you had a healing process to go through. So how did you feel?
Well, it was healing, and also we had the bushfires. There's only been a few pandemic bushfires and things along the way as well. What I found was, it's like learning a new language. It was the same with the cancer diagnosis. You're like, I have no idea what these people are talking about. So it's an education part in, okay, where do you start with the story? How do you unpack it? What am I trying to say? All of those elements. The beauty for me was I had written, and as I mentioned, I'd written sort of 2 books, and I restructured it, but then we had the bushfires and I actually needed a pause away from it to then go back to it. And what was the beauty of your team and was that we had that community, but I also felt held. I didn't feel shamed if I hadn't followed and done it within 3 months. It allowed me to have that myself, to have that breathing space as well. So having that part, also the team, even the last moment, as you know, we laugh about, there was a chapter I had which was called Here Comes the Cavalry, and it was referring to my 2 sisters coming over to help me when I first got diagnosed. And somehow along the way, the change of spelling had happened, and I hadn't picked it up. The editor hadn't picked it up because the word could have been used. Cavalry, I understand, is like on a crucifix. So she could have taken it as a context. Oh, I think she means she's about to start this really horrific journey. I meant it as like charge of the light brigade. Here's my sisters, the cavalry have arrived. And it was one of your publishing, Viv, who picked it up because she's English as well. And it's like a team effort. And I felt like a village was helping support me every step of the way. And that's what I really enjoyed. And you've got some amazing new processes, like during the editing process as well, just having the other authors there. So I'm really grateful for that. And it's not just about, here's the book, see you. You're part of that community going forward. And so I'm really looking forward to writing my 2nd book. Yeah,
and your master classes, that you need to be attending now, so have you been to a couple before?
Yes, I have. So sorry, good reminder. The masterclasses as well, because it also gives you an opportunity to go, okay, how would I create this as a product? Now, mine's a memoir, so it was really, I felt it was important to share my story if I'm going to ask people to share their stories and be vulnerable. But there are ways that you know how to speak or how to go through. So you cover all of those elements. And also if you're setting up a new business, how would you go through talk to media? So all of that, it was, well, if I was going to use the word holistic, it is that holistic approach of book writing.
Of writing a book, and then obviously working out ways to monetize it. And every story, I believe, and even when people do write their memoirs, I think has got an approach within it that can then be reverse engineered. I mean, you're already doing it with your counselling and things like that. You're reverse engineering the tools that you used in your journey to help other people. So it's just because the book is not a system, it's actually a memoir. That doesn't mean it doesn't have a system behind it that you can bring in. I love it. So your book can be bought at Louise James, spelled just normal, guys, just because sometimes this goes out as an audio. So louisejames.com. And if you get it from Louise, she'll sign it for you before she posts it out. Otherwise, it is on all your good online stores like Amazon, Barnes and Noble, all of those places. And as we said earlier, the Kindle version, if you buy that, you will be donating $1 from every Kindle sale towards what did we? So
it's towards breast cancer research and support services, because there were a number of, and I acknowledge them in the book at the back actually, who help provide. When I first launched the book, I was able to do a small event before we got locked down again, and so I was able to give to one of the local cancer services. So this is me giving back to some of the other ones to help.
Yeah. I love that. Beautiful. Well, there you go. And October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Thus why we're both wearing pink. As we said, we didn't plan it. That will end up matching. But it worked out, and it's like everything synchronicity. I think it happens for a reason. So I really appreciate your time this morning, and I wish you every success with the journey, the clients, and the people you'll be helping to make it a little bit less frustrating for them, and of course keep helping more people avoid full stop moments as much as they can, but live life to the fullest. So thank you so much, Louise.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
See ya, gorgeous. Bye.
Take care. Bye.